All right. Ooh, yeah. Cool. We're live. Wow, I've never done a YouTube live before. Okay, there we go. Sweet. So, I'm gonna wait for people to join, but it's a little crooked. Okay, welcome you guys. Welcome. Oh yeah, don't pay attention to all that stuff over there. Secret. Okay, I'm gonna go get my questions. Okay, so I just got my questions here. I'm just gonna do a little get ready with me. So, hi Rachel. So I'm just gonna do a little get ready with me. I've never done a YouTube live before, so I just wanted to try it. My hair's a little nuts right now, but yeah, so I'm just gonna do a little get ready with me, answer some questions. I have a ton of questions to answer, so maybe I'll do like a part 1 and part 2, but we'll see. Maybe I'll blow through them. Who knows? Cool. So I'm just going to give a couple more seconds here. I'm going to get some moisturizer and gather a couple things while people join. All right. And you guys totally can ask questions. I think I can see the chat on here. Yeah, because I saw somebody say hi, so I can see the chat on here. So if you guys have any other questions to add, feel free. Cool. So I'm going to start off with some primer, and then I'm going to do my foundation, which I'm going to use the Glossier Perfecting Skin Tint. So let me grab that. Yeah, so I'm just gonna do my little foundation. If you guys have any questions about my skincare or the way I do my makeup or whatever, just let me know. But let's get some questions going here. So somebody had a question about their hair. Oh, cool. So you subscribe through my sister's Twitch. That's awesome. Yeah, my sister Alyssa, or she's a lizard on Twitch. She's awesome over there. She's like a girl gamer. She's super bad butt, but yeah, so you should check her out if you're on Twitch or you like Fortnite. She streams all the time and she's like super cool. But anyway, so welcome. Thank you for joining. So somebody had a question about their hair. Should I keep trimming the bottom so I can grow my bangs out? Because her hair is super uneven. Should I avoid coloring it? She has some gray hair. Is there a product I should use to keep it healthy in the meantime? I wrote them down on here because I am currently live on my phone and that's where all the questions were. So to answer your question, I think you don't necessarily need to trim your hair if you're trying to grow it out. I've been growing mine out for like a year or so, maybe a little more, because it was like about here. So it was about there. And so it's been growing about that much for like a year. And I don't think you need to trim it as long as you're keeping the ends healthy and moisturized, because that's the thing that like really I think people don't understand is like, if you are trimming your hair and you're still like heat styling it and like doing a bunch of crazy stuff to it, you're gonna have breakage, and the breakage continues to split. So as it is splitting, then like you will like have to cut your hair because it's gonna be so damaged and dry on the ends. So yeah, so that's what I think. I don't think you need to trim it unless you have a ton of breakage at the ends or if you dye it a lot. I also would recommend doing a hair mask every once in a while. So if you do a hair mask, I use a really awesome one from Kristen S, who is at Target. So I definitely recommend that. I'm like a super huge fan of Kristen S products. I love them. Like, I think it's the same reason why I like, sorry, I'm like dropping everything. I think it's the same reason why I like Glossier, is because they have like really deluxe products that you can use at home. Like, you can grab them from just a drugstore on your way home from work, and there you go. You have like a super deluxe product. I don't know. That's what I really like. So yeah, hopefully that answered your question. Oh, you can also take vitamins like biotin and collagen and stuff like that if you're interested in like making your hair thicker and healthier. So that's what I would say to that. Let's see. Oh yeah, somebody asked what I want to tell people about my name change. And that is something that I haven't really publicized much. So my maiden name was Tiffany Rochelle Cates, and whenever I got married, I took my husband's last name, so it was Tiffany Rochelle Fajan. That's what it is now. But recently, I don't know, my husband and I have been like talking, and it was just like, I don't know, do I still want the Cates in my name? Do I not? And I like kind of secretly kind of always have wanted the Cates in my name, and I just really like, you know, carrying on the Cates tradition along with the Fajan tradition. So, because my dad had 2 girls, my parents had 2 girls, so we don't really have much like name carrying on our side. I have a boy cousin, and then I have another girl cousin. I have a couple cousins. Anyway, so we just really wanted to keep the tradition going with my last name. So my full name is now Tiffany Rochelle Cates Fajan, but my last name's still Fajan. I don't know. Anyway, that's really cool. I just really like that because I get to carry that on with my dad, and I don't know. It was cool. So that's my name change recently. Thank you for asking. Let's see, the favorite place that I have lived. I haven't lived a ton of places. I grew up in California. I lived in Sacramento, and I really liked it because of the sunshine, and I got to play outside all the time. I was super tan all the time. I wish I could like pull up pictures right now, because as a kid I was like a really tan kid. But since moving up to Oregon, I'm just like really pale, but or I guess not really pale, but compared to what I was when I was a kid. So I really liked the sunshine when I was a kid, and playing outside and stuff. But here in Oregon, I've lived in Northeast Portland, and I loved it because obviously you can say you live in Northeast Portland, which is super cool. We lived over in like the Laurelhurst and Hollywood area, if you're familiar. So it's beautiful. We lived in an apartment, so we got to live in like a really nice neighborhood, but we didn't have to like buy a house. So that was a pretty good setup, not gonna lie. So we lived right by Laurelhurst Park, and it was amazing. I loved it so much. So yeah, so we lived there, and I think that might have been like the coolest place we've ever lived, / probably will ever live, because it's really expensive to live in Portland. So yeah, we'll see about that. Oh, and I'm using my Naked Heat palette, by the way. So yeah, so I think that might have been the favorite place I've lived. I've also lived in like Clackamas, Happy Valley. I'm currently in the Happy Valley area right now, and yeah, I like it too because it's, you know, less expensive, so we can like have a bigger spot for actually cheaper than when we lived in Northeast. So how did I decide to become an esthetician? That's a really interesting question. If you don't know what an esthetician is, it's not quite a dermatologist. I don't have a doctor's degree, so I'm not a doctor, but I do aesthetics, so skincare, facials, hair removal, stuff like that. So, but how did I come to become that? I I don't know, I always knew I wanted to do something to take care of people. I really love taking care of people. So I think that has something to do with it. And I love makeup. That's originally why I got into it, is because I just really loved makeup. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be like a famous makeup artist and all this stuff. But I don't know if that's actually gonna happen or not. But I do like doing makeup for like weddings and prom and winter formal and stuff like that. I actually did makeup for Fashion Next this last year. I got to be an assistant with someone, and that was really, really fun. I definitely would totally do it again, because it was such a fun experience working at Fashion Week. Well, it wasn't really like New York Fashion Week, but it was like Portland's version, which was still really amazing. I think it's one of the best fashion shows in the United States, other than like New York Fashion Week. At least that's what I've heard. So it was really cool to be part of that. So I've always loved makeup, and I was into blogging for a little while, like beauty blogging, just kind of sharing what I picked up at like Target. And so I actually got reached out to by a spa in Portland, the Portland Girl, if you've ever heard of it. I am obsessed with it. I love it so much. They are great products and great people. So yeah, so I love the Portland Girl. And the owner like reached out to me, and she was like, hey, like, do you wanna like hang out here for a little bit? And so I got a job there, but I had to get my aesthetics license. So I did that. I went to the Aveda Institute and got my aesthetics license, and yeah, the rest is history. I'm an esthetician, and I think honestly it's because I really like taking care of people and being there for people, helping people feel confident and like fresh and excited and happy and pretty. So yeah, I really like that a lot. Yeah, let's see here. I'm gonna go down the line here. There's a bunch of questions, but what are some good skincare, what's a good skincare routine or products for smoothing face texture and reducing redness? So by the sound of it, it seems like you have more sensitive skin and are maybe have more dry skin, because a lot of times texture kind of builds up if your skin is too dry and you don't exfoliate it enough. So I would say use something really exfoliating every once in a while. I really like Solution by Glossier. Glossier Solution is amazing. It's an exfoliant. It's a 10% acid, so it'll help to remove the like dead skin on your face that has been built up, and also it will brighten your skin and kind of reduce some of that hyperpigmentation if that's something that you struggle with as well. Yeah, it's a recent discovery of mine from Glossier, and yeah, I love it. I'm obsessed with it. I use it all the time. I use it probably, I wouldn't say all the time. I don't use it every day. You could use it every day, but I use it probably like 3 times a week, because my skin is like on the normal to dry side, but I keep it pretty exfoliated. So yeah. So I would say that, and then potentially like a glycolic mask. So if you want to like have like a treatment that you can do every couple days or so, use like a glycolic mask. Actually, the Portland Girl has an amazing one. It's their pumpkin mask, and yeah, you should check that out if you want, because I know you're in the area. So check that out. I think it's like 22 bucks, which sounds like it's kind of expensive. Like it's not like $10 from the drugstore, but it is really good ingredients. Makes your skin look so bright, and it clarifies it. So 100% recommend that. Let's see, what else do we have here? Yeah, and if you guys have any other questions, feel free to leave them here. I'll try to leave this video up after I finish, so we don't have a ton more. Is bronzer still a thing? Oh, that's funny. I kind of just bronzed my face. And I need some tips on updated makeup trends. I don't really follow makeup trends fully. I just kind of have been morphing what looks good on my skin, and every day is like a little bit different. Like I tweak something here and there. Like not every day I will go over and like bronze my face. But today I was using this blush, It's the L'Oreal Paradise. It actually is peach scented, which is really nice. And this is the color Charming. And it's a little bit more of like a brown pink kind of orangey situation. So I like using that all over because it kind of looks good on my skin like that. I don't know if bronzer is really a thing anymore. I think it is. I think it just depends on the rest of your makeup routine, because sometimes I like just use a little bit of Glossier skin tint and then some highlight, and then I like go out the door. But if you're to use like a full coverage foundation, like say I have this like all over my face, then you'd kind of look blank. So at that point, I would probably warm the face up a little bit with at least some like blush, just to kind of give you a little bit more dimension so you don't look like just like one color, you know? So yeah, that's what I would say with that. Oh, I have a question about Oliver. Did the Ferber method work through teething for Oliver? And what's your, oh, what does this say? What did I write? What's your favorite makeup brand? Oh, okay. I think that's what it was. So the Ferber method is a form of like sleep training. And basically what you do is you put your baby down, and then you just like, with nothing in there, no pacifier, no blanket, no nothing. You just put them down in their crib and they will cry. I mean, if your kid is like my kid, they will cry and you'll be like, I'm like terrified. Is my kid okay? It was like so shocking at first because obviously you don't want your baby to cry, but you let them cry for 5 minutes. And then you go back in there. If they're still crying, then you go back in there and make sure that they're okay. You pat them on the back. You don't pick them up. The only times that I really picked him up is if he was like hyperventilating from crying so much, which didn't happen that often, but every once in a while. So then I calmed him down and basically started over, which is kind of frustrating, but it's good if you want to like keep it consistent, which is what they definitely recommend, is to just keep the sleep training consistent and don't like give in, because otherwise you're gonna start over basically. So, oh, and the mascara I just used is the Glossier Lash Slick. Where did I put it? Oh, right here. It's Lash Slick. It's my favorite mascara. Yeah, so with the Ferber method, you put them down for 5 minutes, let them cry, and then you go back in, check on them, make sure they're breathing. No, I don't want to scare you, but make sure they're hanging out and like not like freaking out fully. And then you leave again for 10 minutes. So you kind of up the time to 10 minutes. This is really hard to do in my viewfinder. And then you go in and check on them if they're still crying. And then you continue that same thing in 15-minute intervals. So you go back every 15 minutes. So that's what the Ferber method is. And I think it really, really helped us a lot, actually. Like, I am very thankful I found the Ferber method, because the full like cry it out method, you put your baby down and just let them cry until they go to sleep. I think it works, but it was a little bit too much for me. Like, I was too stressed about that. Like, am I doing everything okay? Am I breaking my baby? Like, I don't know. I was just nervous about like if the baby would feel neglected or whatever. So what I did was I did the Ferber, and while he's teething, which funny enough, he's teething right now, you're supposed to continue doing the same exact thing. If they're teething, if they're sick and have a fever, if they like whatever the cause is that's keeping them up, you're supposed to continue with the same method so that they can learn to self-soothe. So did it work for us? Yes, it works for us. The only thing I think is different with his sleep kind of routine while he's teething is that he doesn't really take as long of naps. So he's probably going to be getting up semi-soon-ish, but he doesn't take as long of naps, and he wakes up like really, really, really crying, which is really sad. But he does that every once in a while. And it's really sad, but you have to continue with the same method so that they can learn to self-soothe. And he is self-soothing. Here's a little snippet of what he looks like. Hopefully you can see that. Maybe you can't. anyway, he's sleeping in there. So yeah. And over time, I kind of can tell his sort of like the way he's feeling. Like say he's in there for 5 minutes and I can tell he's like laying his head down, but he's still crying, but he's laying his head down. I like keep him in there for a little bit longer. Sometimes the first little section, I keep him in there for like 10 minutes because he will fall asleep before 10 minutes. But if I go in at 5 minutes, sometimes he'll like get riled up again and I'm like, oh, dang it, like what did I do? So yeah, so that's what we do. Hopefully I answered your question. If not, feel free to message me and I'll keep it going there. And I got this really long message from someone, which I very much appreciate because it was very thoughtful and very heartfelt. And they asked like how motherhood has changed my routine. And that is a question all in itself. I think I'm gonna do a whole separate video on that because there's a lot to go over because it did change our routine quite a bit. But that being said, I still feel like myself. I still feel like me and Drew can like have our time. I still feel like it's not like, I think we have enough support where I'm able to get a break every once in a while, and breaks make me feel like myself again. So that is something that I would definitely leave you with right now. I think I'm gonna do a whole video on that though, because it like, I have a lot to say. And I think maybe Drew would have a good perspective on that as well. So yeah, oh, and I do have a couple videos with Drew coming into the video. He's gonna be in the video soon, so keep that in mind. He's gonna be on my channel soon. And while I'm making a little plug, tomorrow, which is Valentine's Day, February 14th, sorry my bangs are being like freaking weird right now. I have a big announcement on my channel. So come back here tomorrow at 10 a.m. for an amazing announcement. You're gonna wanna be here, so I'm really excited for that. So yeah, that was just a little plug. If you're not subscribed already, please do subscribe because I'm gonna start making videos quite often. New videos every week, and I'm still working on my schedule, so I'm gonna see how many a week I can do. But yeah, you're gonna want to subscribe because fun stuff is coming. So, let's see. Another question, are you working or no, and why? Unexpected things that came with motherhood or things that have changed your marriage. I think both of those questions will go into that video as well. I do think a lot of unexpected things have come into our lives since then. And obviously I'm a new mom, so every single stage is different. And so I'm learning how to change, you know, my like perspective on things. So yeah. Last question. What is the cutest nickname you have for Ollie? I have so many random nicknames for him. There's one that I have kind of shared with everybody, and that's Bee Boots. So like a little bumblebee and boots. And if you have a pet, if you have a child, you understand how these names kind of progress. And I think it started with baby. So it was like, oh, baby, and then Babo, and then Bebo, and then Bee Boots, and it just kind of escalated from there. But anyway, I think I'm done with my makeup. I'm gonna put some lipstick on. This here is the NYX Powder Puff Lippy. I'm obsessed with these things. They're so easy to use. They are a liquid lip, but they are like powdery. It's super strange. Like it comes out of this little, almost like a doe foot applicator thing, but it has the product in there and like it just turns into powder. It's the weirdest thing, but I love them. I got this at Target, but I think I've also seen them, where else did I see them? Were they at Nordstrom Rack? I don't know. Nordstrom Rack carries NYX if you're curious to try them. But okay, that is everything. Thank you so much for joining me. I would love to know if you want to see more of these. If you came from Instagram, I posted over there saying, hey, you should come over here. If you came from there, please let me know. And If you want to see these more often, let me know that as well. Otherwise, I hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you guys tomorrow at 10 a.m. Be here tomorrow, 10 a.m. What is the month? February 14th, 10 a.m. Okay, I'll see you guys later. Have a great day.